Hi everyone! Welcome back to Dr. Byrnes' TOEFL show. Today, we're continuing our training for the TOEFL speaking task, Listen and Repeat. This task is all about how accurately and naturally you can repeat what you hear.
You are signing up at a Chinese restaurant as a waiter. You must repeat exactly what you hear.
Who ordered poo-poo platter? Who ordered poo-poo platter? No, poo-poo, not poo-poo. Who ordered poo-poo platter?
Who ordered poo-poo platter?
Who ordered poo-poo platter?
If you watched the last video, you learned two key ideas that help you succeed on this task. Focus on content words and speak in the rhythm of English. This matters because that is exactly what the ETS Listen and Repeat scoring rubric rewards. It says that to score high, you need to repeat the content words in the correct order and pronounce those content words clearly and accurately. Notice what the rubric does not require. It does not say you must pronounce every function word exactly the way it appears in the dictionary. If you did that, your speech would sound robotic and unnatural. Native speakers don't talk like dictionaries. When native speakers speak, they reduce function words. Small grammar words like the, to, of, for are often reduced to a soft schwa sound. Because of this, native speech can sound like mumbling to non-native ears. In fact, one of you commented that the official ETS Listen and Repeat samples sounded too fast and unclear. But here's the truth. That's how native speakers actually speak in real life. Now, you might wonder, if native speakers reduce words so much, how do they understand each other? Great question. The reductions you hear are not random. They follow very clear and predictable rules. This system is called connected speech. Even though connected speech can sound unclear to non-native ears, it's perfectly clear to native speakers because the linking, reductions, and stress patterns follow fixed rules. Dr. Byrnes has many videos on connected speech, not only for TOEFL, but also to help you sound more natural, clearer, and more pleasant to listen to in everyday English. In addition, native speakers understand each other through rhythm and stress. They listen for where the beat is and notice where the pitch drops, and the brain fills in the small grammar words automatically. So if your goal is to get a top score on the Listen and Repeat task, your goal is not to copy dictionary pronunciation. Your goal is to repeat exactly what you hear, including the music of English. In other words, when you listen, don't only listen for individual words, listen for the beat. That beat helps you remember how many content words there are and where they appear in the sentence. Today, you will practice speaking in the rhythm of English. Let's begin with the foundation of English rhythm, sentence stress. Sentence stress means that in every sentence, some words are stressed strongly, while others are reduced and spoken quickly. The stressed words carry the main meaning, while the unstressed words connect the sentence together smoothly. Let's start with a very simple example. I want to go to the store. Notice that all the words here are one syllable. Now, in English, content words are stressed. These are usually nouns, mean verbs, adjectives, or adverbs. In our sentence, the stressed content words are want, go, store. The remaining words, I, to, the, are function words. They are not stressed. Instead, they are said quickly and lightly between the strong beats. So when we speak naturally, the sentence doesn't sound like each word is equal. Instead, it flows like this. Want, go, store. The weak words, I, to, the, are squeezed in between. This is English rhythm in action.
I want to go to the store.
I want to go to the store. So even though there are 7 words, you're saying there are really only 3 main beats?
Exactly, that's the key. In this sentence, there are only 3 strong beats. Want, go, store. The other words are reduced. Once you master this principle, your speech immediately becomes smoother, more natural, and easier for native speakers to understand. It's the difference between just saying words and speaking with rhythm.
That was very helpful, Dr. Byrnes. But what about sentences that contain words with more than 1 syllable? I know that in English, words with more than 1 syllable must have 1 stress syllable, called word stress. How does that work together with sentence stress?
Great question. Here's the rule. When you have words with more than 1 syllable, only the stressed syllable counts as a beat in the rhythm. The other syllables are weak, just like function words. They get squeezed in quickly between the strong beats. Let's look at an example sentence. Mary wanted to visit the bookstore. Step 1, find content and function words. Content words, stressed, are Mary, wanted, visit, bookstore. Function words, unstressed, are to and the. Step 2, find the stressed syllable in each word. Mary, may, re. Stress on the first syllable. Wanted, wan, id. Stress on the first syllable. Visit, vi, zit. Stressed on the first syllable. Bookstore, book, store. Stressed on the first syllable.
So only may, wan, be, and book are strong beats?
Exactly. Now, the weak syllables are re, ted, sit, store, to, the. These are said quickly and lightly. Step 3, put it together. The sentence sounds like this. Mary wanted to visit the bookstore. If you clap on each stressed syllable, you clap on may, wan, vi, book. The rest of the syllables slide in between the claps. Step 4, notes on rhythm. Second syllables of words are usually weak and shorter. Function words like to and the are never stressed. They slide in quickly. The rhythm feels like strong, weak, weak, strong, weak, strong.
I see. So in longer words, we only stress the main syllable and the rest of the syllables behave like weak words.
Precisely. That's how English keeps its bouncy musical rhythm.
So I say, Mary wanted to visit the bookstore.
Yes, Mary wanted to visit the bookstore.
Dr. Byrnes, could we try sentence stress with 3-syllable words?
Of course. Here's an example sentence. Jennifer decided to celebrate her birthday.
Okay. First, I'll identify the content and function words. Content words, usually stressed. Jennifer decided celebrate birthday. Function words, usually weak. To her. Next, I'll find the stressed syllable in each content word. Jennifer, stress on the first syllable. Decided, stress on the second syllable. Celebrate, stress on the first syllable. Birthday, stress on the first syllable. So there are 4 strong beats: gin, sid, sell, birth. I need to squeeze in all the remaining weak syllables in between, like this. Sentence with rhythm. Jennifer decided to celebrate her birthday.
Excellent. You did a great job identifying the 4 beats and filling in the gaps with the weak syllables. That's exactly how English rhythm works. The strong syllables act like the drum beats, and the weak ones slide in quickly. This creates the natural rhythm and musical flow of English.
Dr. Byrnes, I think I've got it.
Now I see why learning word stress is so important. It's the foundation for sentence stress.
Precisely. Without knowing word stress, you can't apply sentence stress correctly. Once you understand both, your English will sound smoother, clearer, and much more natural.